traders all around the world. Hello Max, hello George, hello MJ, how are you? How are you? I think it's Mr. Yanis. No, for Forex trading for beginners, it's also me. When you say something and Forex trading for beginners is answering, it's me, it's not Yanis. Yanis, okay. So everybody, this is Forex Trading Course 101, and remember we have three pillars in order to become successful trading. You need to have a strategy or a system that has an edge. You need to know how to apply risk management, and the big one is the psychology part. Hello MJ, how are you? Hello Miguel. And remember everybody, we are still in the basic module. We are learning market structure, highs and lows and trends. Today we are going to discuss how to properly draw trend lines. And remember, 90% of them not because of the risk management, because of the psychology part, everybody. And here is the risk disclaimer: the webinars are not investment or trading advice. The webinars are for educational purposes only. Don't trade with money you cannot afford to lose. And for homeworks and or questions, you have my Gmail contact down here, my Skype contact, and my LinkedIn contact if you want. That being said, let's dive into the charts and let's see. Okay, we are going to learn how to properly 99.9%. Fortunately, it's not that much, but still it's a lot, right? 90%, 85%, different countries, right? 80, 85, 90% in general. Okay, everybody, so this is just an example, and the things, the concepts you're going to learn right now, they apply to all time frames, okay? So this is just an example, and we have here a low with the wick, we have a high also with the wick, and we have a second low. So we are going to draw the first trend line. Okay, remember, as a beginner trader, the market can have multiple trend lines. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to connect the lows of the candlesticks. Sometimes the lows of the candlesticks are going to be the candlesticks wicks. Sometimes if the candle, everybody, if the candle of a low is a full body candle, then you don't have a wick. You're going to connect just the low of the candle, right? But as we said, you cannot break candles, nor you can break candlesticks wicks. Okay, so I'm going to connect. I'm going to make it blue this time, blue and smaller, thinner. Okay, so I just connected my first low with my second low, and remember, I cannot make it like this. This would be wrong. If I leave my uptrend line like this would be wrong, because why? Because I'm breaking the candlestick's wick. Here is the wick, right? So I need to be careful in order to draw my trend line. So the first trend line is going to be like this, and this could be USDJPY weekly chart, this could be Euro Dollar 1 minute chart, this could be NZD CAD 2-hour chart. Okay, those rules apply to all currency pairs and all time frames. Now, this is my long-term trend line. Okay, and remember, as a beginner trader, every time frame has its own long-term trend line. We could have a downtrend line. Uptrend is just an example. Okay, every time frame, write this down, or remember, every time frame has its own long-term trend line, and then we are going to connect the last low, and we are going to stretch further, right? And I'm going to connect like this. So right now I have my long-term trend line, my long-term uptrend line, and I have the so-called medium trend line, medium term trend line. Some traders are calling it inner trend line, long term trend line, outer trend line. Okay, but for the sake of time, let's say that this is the long term trend line, this is the medium term trend line. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect from the last low, I'm going to connect the other lows. Remember, I cannot break the lows. So now I have the long-term trend line, which is this. The second one from the bottom to the top is the medium-term trend line. The third is the short-term trend line, if you want. And George is saying for daily, weekly and 1 year it makes sense to use open close, but for the others does it make any sense? No one is closing positions at the end of a minute or hour or month. The answer is yes, George. Okay, I'm going to show you later on the different time frames, but the answer is yes. Those are the rules, George. You cannot break the trend, the candlesticks or the wicks of the candles. Okay, but the answer is yes. I'm going to show in just a second. And lastly, we have another one. I can connect this low with the next low, right? And I have a long-term trend line, a medium-term trend line, short-term trend line, and the fourth, I can call it the aggressive trend line, right? And I have one more because my highest high is up in here, so I have one more. I'm going to connect this one, and I need to follow the trend, right? The market is making higher highs, higher lows, and now this is the second aggressive trend lines, the trend line. Okay, as a beginner trader, you need to learn that you can have multiple trend lines. Okay, but they are called the long term, the medium term, the short term, and the next are the aggressive trend lines. Okay, that being said, let's go on euro dollar one. Let me see what 1 minute chart, George. Okay, 1 minute chart. So this is the 1 minute chart on euro dollar, and I'm going to find the most recent low, which is this one, and as we can see, everybody, the market is making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, right? Okay, so I'm going to draw an uptrend line, and I'm going to start from the lowest low, which is the starting point of the trend, right? I'm going to stretch it on the right, and I'm going to move it slowly until my uptrend line is going to connect with the first low. Okay, okay, is that okay? Is my trend line okay, everybody? It's like this, right? This is a correctly drawn trend line. Is this trend line correct, or maybe is something wrong? Remember, we have rules that we are going to apply. No, of course not. I'm breaking here. I broke this week, I broke this week, I broke these bodies of the candlesticks. Correct. No, okay, of course not. So again, I'm going to take my trend line and I'm going to correct it. Now this uptrend line is correct, right? So I connected the lows. Yes, you broke the wicks, correct. I connected the lows. Did I break any candlesticks wick or body? I didn't, right? So this is the long-term trend line on the 1 minute chart, and as you can see, George and everybody else, the market is speeding up right now on the 1 minute chart, so I can draw another trend line. I'm going to connect this and these two, and I'm going to connect this one with up in here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in. So as you can see, everybody, the market is speeding up, and sometimes of course here is going to be difficult, right, because you don't have a wick to ease your drawings, okay, but this is a way to go. Or you can move it on the trend line, something like this. I don't know if Forex is going to allow me. Okay, anyway, you should not break any wicks or body of the candles, right? Okay, something like this. Now, as you can see, this is the 1 minute chart. If the market is making right now, as you can see, the market closed this candle like this, right? So when this happens, you need to wait. Okay. Oh, Passion, but you just said that we should not break the wicks. Yes, correct, but remember, when I drew the trend line, the market was in the process of making this blue candle, right? So my trend line is still correct. If the market is going to push higher, making another higher high, then what we should do? We should adjust our trend line like this. We should, yes, we need to correct, MJ. We need to adjust the trend line. Okay, but for the time being, it's like this. Let's wait until the market closes the 1 minute candle. And as you can see, everybody, it didn't make a higher high. So this trend line stays like this. Maybe the second candle, the market is going to push higher, most likely. And when this happens, okay, we are going to adjust our trend line. So if you want to learn something today, trend lines are not static. Okay, you need to take a look at the market and you need to adjust trend lines time to time. Of course, maybe not on the monthly chart, weekly chart, and yearly chart. Relocate, yes sir. Let's wait for the market to close the 1 minute candle, and then we are going to adjust our trend line. Rule. This is a non-negotiable rule. Let's wait. Let's wait for the market to close. Everybody, okay, it made a higher high, so we are going to adjust our trend line, right? So we are not breaking any rules. We are not breaking any candles. Okay, now let's write down and let's remember a rule, everybody. This is a non-negotiable rule when drawing trend lines. Rule. Do you make survey about derivative function? If a derivative is high, mean that sooner or later extension stops and start? No, Max? No, I didn't make any survey about derivative functions. Rule. Before we adjust our trend line, we must see a closed candle. This is a rule, everybody, non-negotiable rule. Before we adjust our trend line, we must see a closed candle. Okay, you cannot move your trend line because you think that the market is going to go higher, or you cannot move your trend lines because you think that the market is going to push lower. You need to adjust your trend lines only when the market closes the candles. Max, no, I didn't do any surveys. Not yet, my friend. Okay, George, this is euro-dollar monthly chart. 1 minute chart. Let's open USD-JPY monthly chart. USD-JPY monthly chart. Okay, here we are. Now, as you can see, this is why we learned in the week number 1 about the two bands on the monthly chart, right? So we are going to start with the uptrend line. Now, where does the trend start? The trend starts from the lowest low, from the absolute low. Okay, so here is the absolute low. I'm going to zoom in for you to see. This is the absolute low. Okay, the absolute low. This is on the USD/JPY monthly chart. I'm going to take, this is the absolute low. I'm going to stretch it and move it slowly with the mouse. Up, 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 up in here. There you go. So this is my long-term uptrend line, as you can see, and I'm going to stretch it even further. Okay, and I have another one. I'm going to connect this week with the second week. This is my medium-term uptrend line, right? And now my third trend line, short term, is like this. Need to start surveying. There are dependencies. You named it rally. Max, my friend, believe me, I would love to, but I simply don't have time. Okay, but you can do it, no problem. MJ, Miguel, Annie, Eddington, Max, George, and everybody else, is this uptrend line correctly drawn? Is this uptrend line correct? Is this uptrend line correct? I have my long term on the USD/JPY monthly chart. I have my medium term, and I have my short term uptrend line. Is this uptrend line correctly drawn, everybody? You can say yes, you can say no, you can say I don't know, you can say maybe yes. George, no. Why not, George? Why not? Michael, hello, says no. Why not, Michael? Why not? What's the problem? Max says no. Okay. Why not? All of you are right. What's the problem? Should I put my uptrend line lower? I'm going to give you two examples, okay? Example number one. Should I put it like this? And we are going to color code it in red. Or should I put it like this? Which one is correct? The higher red or the lower red? Which one is correct? George says it crosses candlesticks. Yes, sir. Passion, my data for USD/JPY gets as far as 1996 on the monthly. Miguel, congratulations to you. I don't know why my doesn't. My stops on 2003. I would love to see more data. Can you hear me, everybody? Sound check. Are we back? Can you hear me? This is a sound check. Okay? Can you hear me? This is a sound check. And of course I have a delay on the chat, but I can see the software is responding. FXPassion, just please restart your old Pentium 1. Okay. Can you hear me? Now I can hear you. Okay, great. Yes, my Pentium 1, it's a little bit old, you know. So okay, great. Now again, this lower uptrend line, as we said, what is the rule? What is a trend line? A trend line is a tool that confirms a trend, right? Pentium 1 works again. Yes, sir. So this lower red line, okay, what does this uptrend line, this lower, confirms? It's not confirming anything, right? So it's wrong, and I'm going to delete it. So everybody, those are the three trend lines that we have on USDJPY monthly chart. Okay, so the market is still up long term because of the long term and medium term uptrend lines, right? The market broke the short term trend line. You are making 1 million a day, get a new computer. It's expensive, you know. The computer, it's 2 million, so I need to work a little bit more. MJ. Okay, everybody, when the market breaks one trend line, it has a tendency to go until the other trend line. Okay. Now, what else can we do? Well, we can draw from yesterday. Max was talking about counter trend line, counter trend line. We can draw a counter trend line, right? Where we are going to start the counter trend line? Well, if our trend lines and the market are up, we are going to draw a downtrend line as a counter trend line, right? Where we are going to start? Well, we need to find out the beginning of the downtrend, the beginning of the retracement, which is here. And again, we are going to click on the wick of the candle, and we are going to extend our line and slowly going down with the mouse, carefully not to break any candles, right? There you go. So we have uptrend lines, long term and medium term, and we have a short term downtrend line, which serves as a counter trend line also, right? So when the market is going to break this counter trend line, right, maybe it's going to be time to buy USDJPY. And remember, we have three market behaviors tradable, right? We learned we have an uptrend as a tradable behavior, we have a downtrend as a tradable behavior, and the third one is the so-called sideways movement, right? Sideways channel, where we also can apply trend lines, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to click on a high and move it like this, and click again and move it like this. So, and as Max is saying, we don't have a crystal ball, right? So maybe this market is sideways for the time being, and we're going to color code this in a different color and put it like this, widen a little bit. Okay, so we have uptrend lines, now we have a downtrend line, and also we have a horizontal line symbolizing the potential sideways movement. Okay, now it's just a speculation, but maybe we have a even bigger or higher sideways movement. Okay, and there is no right or wrong. This is for the time being just a speculation. Okay, why is that? Well, because the market is clearly moving inside those two bands, right? For the time being, it's moving inside those two bands. Who knows, right? Who knows? Maybe it's going to, when it's going to break, when it's going to break on the upside or the downside. Maybe the market is going to be locked between the two bigger bands, right? As a beginner trader, everybody, if you are going to buy USDJPY when it breaks the counter trend line, pay attention to the risk, because maybe you are going to buy at the counter trend line break in here, but maybe the market is going to break this counter trend line and go until the upper band of the sideways movement and retrace back down again. Okay, so you need to pay attention in here. Okay, George and everybody else, this is USDJPY monthly chart. Let's check a downtrend. NZD CAD, we're going to go on the weekly chart, George, just for you to see that the answer to your question was a yes. Weekly chart, we're going to compress the chart, right? Compress the chart. We learned about the two bands between the importers and the exporters. We learned when the market hits the upper band, has a tendency to go and to move on the other side. So we went from the bottom to the top. Now our bias long-term direction is down. Agreed, everybody? Okay. Now I'm going to delete the arrow. I'm going to delete the band. Where does the downtrend start? Where does the downtrend start? Well, the downtrend starts at the absolute high. At the highest high, at the absolute high is where the downtrend starts. Okay, so I'm going to click on the candlesticks wick. I'm going to extend the line with my mouse and slowly going down, 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 and like this, right? And I'm going to color code it in black. There you go. Is my downtrend line correct, everybody? Is my downtrend line correct? Or I'm missing something? And Max said on the USDJPY it looks like sideways. Yes. Like also a wedge, yes. Okay, we are on NZD weekly chart. Is my trend line okay? What is a trend line? A trend line is a tool that confirms the trend, right? George says no. Not okay. Why not, George? Why not? MJ says it's correct. Max says attention cross. Okay. Is this trend line, Annie and everybody else, Miguel, correct? No, says Annie. We don't have a lower low to adjust the trend line. But it's okay in here that I broke the candles? Everybody, is it okay? If a trend line is a tool that confirms a downtrend, is okay that I broke my candles here. It crosses candlesticks. Okay. George, you are my teacher, okay? Now I'm going to ask you, teacher George, but the market made a higher high, my friend. The market made a higher high. Why shouldn't I put my downtrend line like this? Because the market was trending down until here. We are not in a downtrend anymore. Everybody, I'm joking with you. I want to see if you understand all what we have learned so far. Pay attention what I'm going to say to you. You are my teacher, Max, Annie, MJ, George, Miguel. You are my teacher. Pay attention. I'm going to ask you, well, we are not in a downtrend anymore. The market is making higher highs, higher lows. So why is this downtrend line not okay? MJ say it's okay for now. Are you sure, MJ? Are we still in a downtrend or are we in an uptrend on NZD weekly chart? Miguel, you were right, it's a false breakout. But still, as your student, I'm asking you, well, but the market did a higher high and a higher low. This low is a higher low and this high is a higher high. So I'm in an uptrend. This is not uptrend, it's retracement. Congratulations, George. Yes, sir, correct. You said no. Dear FXPassion, you are wrong. We are still in a downtrend. Why is that? Because structure high, structure low, structure high, structure low, structure high, structure low, and this is structure high. So we are still in a downtrend. And congratulations everybody, all of you are correct. Annie, Max, Miguel and George and MJ. Yes, all of you are correct. We are still in a downtrend, right? And a predictable trade was here. This was the counter trend line break. If the downtrend line is above the wick, so our uptrend line is going to be here, right? So let's make it smaller or thinner. Let me see. Okay, so in some point in time, everybody, when it was time to trade, this was the market and our counter trend lines. This was the first one, but the second one was like this. Counter trend line, let's make it red. Red, okay. And this fall, everybody, this fall was predictable. Okay. The Forex market, it has a lot of, how can we say, challenges, right? But one of the best things compared to the other markets, compared to the stock market, cryptocurrency market, ETF market, bond market, the Forex market, it's a trending market. You have trends all over the board. And this makes it easier to trade. Of course, if you know the rules and if you obey the rules, right? So this fall, everybody, was predictable. This was a nice and easy trade. No, you cannot put it there. For downtrend line, which highs did you connect? All the highs, MJ. All the highs. All the highs. Remember, not all highs and not all lows are, right? Not all highs and not all lows are relevant. So if this is the case, MJ, I cannot connect just these two, right? Let's make it this bigger. Okay, MJ, it seems that I would connect just this one in here, right? Okay, it would seem that this is the right place, which is not, because remember, you need to, and there is a learning curve, everybody, don't worry, you need to train this to spatially see what is extension, retracement, extension, retracement. Okay, you need to train yourself to spatially see and to understand. Okay, so it would appear that the right place to draw the downtrend line, MJ, is up in here, but is not. Still, when the market closes a high, it's still a lower high compared to the previous high, because we are talking about structure. If I short at the end of a retracement, example the second, where should I exit? Do I need to draw also the support line? George, there is no one answer to your question, okay? In the latest webinars we are going to talk about the Fibonacci's, retracements and extensions. So Fibonacci extensions are most likely the take profit target. Okay, so there is no just one general answer to your question. George, need to catch calculator and calculate where you will close your position. Everybody, there is no just only one way, okay? You can trade in different ways, you have different styles, okay? But George, I can give you an answer talking with the knowledge we have so far. Okay, if you would short the market in here, okay, and if you know that after the retracement comes the extension, and the extension must be by rule be bigger or longer, if you want to use another word, you can take your profits when the market falls below the structure low. So this would be the case. The market is falling below the lower low. This is where you can take your profits if you want, of course. Passion, yes sir. In this drawing you just made, the last high does not have a low, so we cannot put the trend line on it. The last high does not have a low. What do you mean, MJ? What do you mean the last high doesn't have a low? MJ, I'm not sure that I understand your question. Okay, we just connect highs in a downtrend. So in an uptrend, everybody, or MJ, you are going to connect the lows, and in a downtrend you are going to connect the highs. Of course, we cannot break the candlesticks, formations and wicks. MJ, can you be more clear with your question? To adjust a trend line we need 2 highs and 2 lows, right? Not when the trend is already started, MJ, if I understand your question correctly. So when the trend starts, MJ, okay, you have just this, right? And you are saying, well, I'm going to draw my uptrend line like this, right? And then you have the market makes another high and makes another low. Is this the case, MJ? The market makes another lower low, and then you are going to correct. Is this the case? Something like this, MJ? Are we clear, MJ, on this? So when the trend starts, the answer is yes, of course. But when you have a formed trend with different highs and different lows, you know, all over the board, you don't need to wait for 2 higher highs and 2 higher lows. You know that the uptrend is just this one. Hold it here, yes sir. Like this. Let me write, yes sir, absolutely. Okay. I think I know what you are asking, that when you are not sure about the confirmed uptrend or downtrend, right? Okay, so yes, this trend line is like this. When the market makes the second low, see the trend line is broken, but unless market doesn't make a higher high, we cannot adjust the trend line. Yes, you are correct, MJ. You are correct. You need to see a higher high in order to correct the uptrend line. But bear in mind that this example is different from this example. Okay, on the upper example you don't need to wait. I mean, the market is going to make another lower low in here, so you don't need to see another higher high in order to move this one. Okay, if the market, MJ, this is the most recent low in here, okay, and this is the most recent high up in here. Okay, so whatever the market does in between in here, right, you don't need to wait to move your trend lines. Okay, you are still in a structural uptrend or downtrend. Same situation with the chart. We don't have a lower low. You don't need a lower low. You don't need a lower low because we have, MJ, we have structure. Okay, structure, 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 structure. Okay, I'm going to delete this, MJ. Okay, MJ, this is structure, what you are seeing right now. This is structure. You have structural highs up in here. Structure high, structure high, structure high, structure high. How are you going to draw your downtrend line? Can you see the structure highs, MJ? If you are going to, if this is the market and this is theory, structure highs and lows, right, something like this, how are you going to draw your downtrend line when you are going to connect the first high and you are going to extend your downtrend line like this? You shouldn't break. Since there are strict rules, is there a software that draws automatically trend lines? If I set a quadrant, can Forex draw trend lines automatically? George, I don't know, my friend. I don't know. The last structure high is not confirmed yet. Why not, MJ? Why not? Why is not confirmed yet? And even though is not confirmed, the question remains the same, Jay. How are you going to draw your downtrend line if you think that this structure high is not confirmed? How are you going to draw? Because if you're going to draw it like this is wrong. You are breaking the rules. You are breaking candlesticks, MJ. Okay, if you're going to do like this, MJ, this would be wrong. You cannot break candlesticks. Okay, MJ, you need to put a trend line on the chart. How? Missing the laser, yeah, I know. But you need to put a trend line on the chart. How are you going to do this? This is what you are seeing. You need to put a trend line on the chart. Are you going to do it like this? MJ, are you going to do it like this? I mean, you would do it like this, or would you do it differently? If you do it like this, number one, you are breaking the rules because you are breaking the candlesticks wicks. Passion, let's keep on. I will make a video and send you it and explain what I'm talking. I know what you are talking about. Don't worry. I'm trying to tell you that if you do it like this, this would be wrong. Number one, because you are breaking the candlesticks. And number two, if a trend line is a tool that confirms the trend, you are breaking the rules right now. Again. Okay, because if you put like this the trend line, now you are not breaking any rules. The market is making lower lows, lower highs, and trend line is confirming the lower lows, lower highs. And you are not breaking any candlesticks. Okay? If you are doing it like this, because of the concept that in order to have a confirmed trend, you need two lows and two highs, and the second low must be a lower low, and so on and so on. Remember, you have already an established trend. Okay? I know what you are talking about, don't worry. Okay, so next. AUDUSD weekly chart. So with every high market makes, if we adjust the trend line will never break. Great question, MJ. Great question. If this is structure, MJ, if this is structure, right? And the most recent structural high is this one, and if the market breaks for some reason, not the downtrend line, but if the market breaks the structural high, then we are going to check this possible speculative uptrend. And again, we need to see the rules, right? Okay, this is going to be another story. So the downtrend line can go higher and higher until it becomes horizontal, correct? In theory, yes, George, but as I'm saying, when it breaks the structural high, most likely is changing direction. We are moving from a structural downtrend to a structural uptrend. But in theory, yes, the market, it can wave like this and can wave like this and like this, and until in here, in theory at least, right, it can make another lower low, and you would be adjusting your trend line from here to up in here. So the answer is, at least in theory, George, the answer is yes. Okay, AUDUSD weekly chart. Where are the bands? The upper band, the lower band. Okay, homework until tomorrow. Homework until tomorrow. You can send it on my email or Gmail. Okay, draw trend lines on AUD-CAD, on EURJPY, on GBP-JPY, and on which one? Everyone should use an arrow like yours for their chart show off. Hello boss, how are you? Long time no see. Yanis is our boss, everybody. So pay your respects to him. You know, Yanis is our captain. So AUD-CAD, EURJPY, GBP, and oh, okay, a tricky one. USD CHF. Okay, weekly charts. Homework until tomorrow, you can send it on my Gmail. Draw TL stands for trend lines. Draw trend lines on AUD, CAD, EURJPY, GBP, JPY and USD CHF, all of them on the weekly chart. Okay, try to find trend lines on AUD, CAD weekly chart, EURJPY weekly chart, GBP, JPY weekly chart and USD CHF weekly chart. I have sent you an email on August 4 Sunday. Did you receive it? George, send it again please. I didn't receive it. I'm checking emails every day. So send it again please. Now, AUDUSD weekly chart. And Rakesh says, I'm going to copy this special tool, the arrow, in my charts today. Oh man, I would like also, Rakesh, if you can explain to me how to do it. Okay, everybody, AUDUSD weekly chart, we have 3 more minutes, then it's another webinar. So I'm going to take from the highest high, the absolute high, and I'm going to extend it and slowly going down, right? So this is going to be my long-term downtrend line. I need to be careful not to break any wicks. So this is the weekly chart and I'm going to take from the last week and extend it like this. So I have my long-term trend line, I have my medium-term downtrend line. And if you want, you can make it also like this, an even more aggressive one. Okay, everybody, this is all for today. George, I hope I answered your question. The answer was yes. Those rules apply on all time frames. Okay, 1 minute chart, 15-minute chart, weekly, daily, monthly. The arrow that you draw using polyline man. Oh yes, this one. The polyline. I thought that there was another way for the students to show what they mean. Okay. Homework till tomorrow, everybody. AUD, CAD, EURJPY, GBP, JPY, USD, CHF. All of them on the weekly charts. Okay, everybody, stay strong and trade with passion. This is FXPassion signing off.